Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing a vlog style video today just because the lighting in my house is like terrible. I've been packing for Disneyland. It's like nighttime now. So I just wanted to make a video to get posted on my channel before I leave, and it's basically talking about my worst and scariest anxiety symptom, which, as you can tell by the title, is brain zaps, or some people refer to them as brain jolts. I don't think it's a more common symptom, which is why when I was going through it, like, I could hardly find any information about it or people that had been through it. And once I found out what it was and I researched it, most people, when they were having it, they were having it because they were coming off of antidepressants or a medication that can cause those kind of symptoms. So Trey Jones, who I've mentioned in my last video, he had a video on it and he experienced it like once, maybe twice, and he wasn't taking any medication. And then there was another guy that he has like a whole anxiety channel, and he went through it for years on and off, just depending on his anxiety, and he wasn't on medication either. So I just wanted to make this video to let people, you know, my story and how it happened to me, and that if you've had all your checks by doctors and you're still having it, that it's definitely anxiety. And also, because I thought that I had a neurological problem or something wrong with my brain, I feel like my anxiety fed off of my fear, and so that's why I was getting all the symptoms of all the things that I was afraid I had. And so yeah, when I first got this, it happened to me like I think 3 or 4 times total so far. I hope it doesn't ever happen to me again now that I'm more in recovery. But the first time it happened to me, I was actually at a nail salon with my friend, and I remember that I didn't want to be there. I was having all these thoughts of like, well, I'm in public, and like, what if this happens? What if that happens? You know how your brain does when you have anxiety. And so it was really busy in there, and they set me down to get my nails done, and I'm sitting next to her, and we're talking, and you know, I'm kind of calming down, distracting my mind, whatever. And all of a sudden, like, I was in the middle of my sentence, and I get this like electric shock, because it made me jump, and it was like this electric, like, painful, like, shock, like right in here. And I was like, oh my god, what in the world was that? So now my brain went from like thinking of scenarios to like, oh my god, like my scenario is coming true now. So I'm thinking, you know, like, is it a stroke? Is it like an aneurysm? Like, I don't know, because these were things that I feared. And so I continued getting my nails done. It happened a couple more times, but it moved from like this part of my head to like back here. And then another time I had it, it like was in the center of my head here. And that time it kind of almost made it feel like it was an electric shock, but it kind of felt numb for a second. So of course I was freaking out. But I would call my doctor and they would ask me like, did you have any of these other things happen when this happened? And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, then it might just be like a migraine type of thing, or, you know, whatever. But I didn't want to take that for an answer either, because I'm like, when I think of migraines, I think of like my whole entire head's freaking hurting. I'm about to puke. Like, you know, that wasn't happening. It was just these like instant like shocks, and then go away and come back. And it was just so scary. But I would document them as best I could, even though I called my doctor, and it was just like, you know, and I was already diagnosed with generalized anxiety. So I think when they looked in my chart, they're just like, oh, she's having another anxiety episode or something. Like, I have so many stories I can tell about how I felt, how like the healthcare system kind of made me feel at certain points in my anxiety story. But yeah, so when I would record them, I would record like what I was going through, and every single time it happened to me, including like the last time, and the last time it happened, like it happened on the top of my head, but then like part of my lip went numb, but it only lasted for like a second, and then I was back. But then my anxiety was like so bad. But even in that situation, I was just under a stressful type of situation, whether it be my head was racing, or I was like in a place that I didn't want to be, or there were life events that were happening that I couldn't control, and that's when those that's when the brain zaps would happen. So I knew, even though I called my doctor almost every single time it happened, I eventually associated it with, you know, stress. and anxiety. So like I said, if you've been checked by your doctor and you're having this symptom, just know that it's an anxiety symptom and that you're not alone. And if you have any fears of your brain, like something being wrong with it, and it's like an anxiety you have, maybe your anxiety is feeding off of that fear, so you're having these symptoms. But definitely make sure to get checked for it, just in case. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.